And we're back, Jonathan.
All right, another episode of the Road to Code.
Oh, yeah. Where are we at, Jonathan?
We are in the middle of creating our Goontacts.
That's right. So in our last episodes, we were able to grab the list from an API, but it's a hard-coded list. It's not coming from a database or anything, right? So we eventually need to go and grab that list from the database itself. So why don't we go ahead and share your screen, and we'll open up the application so we can see where we're at. And so we did a couple of things, huh? We created one single application that allowed us to launch it from Visual Studio. And it's not only running our API, it's also running our React website.
Yes.
Right? So this is kind of nice. It's one compact application running in Visual Studio.net or Visual Studio 2019, no longer running in Visual Studio Code. But it's not to say that we can't run this in Visual Studio Code. I mean, it's convenient in one place. So that's kind of nice. So let's run it. Let's make sure it's still working. Make sure we haven't broken it since last time. I mean, it'd be pretty impossible since we haven't done anything with it. It takes a little bit longer to load since it's loading a couple of different applications. So yeah, so this is actually coming. If you go to the inspect your page, so right click and inspect and go to the network. Go ahead and refresh the page.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, so we can see, I think it's under the contact. Yeah, that's the XHR.
Yeah, that's all the...
That's the one call that's being made to grab that information.
Cool.
Very cool. All right. So let's go look at the code. We'll go and close this browser. And let's go look at the controller, the contact controller. And we can see that we've hard coded a list, and that's essentially what we're returning. But hard coding the list doesn't give us anything. We need to be able to store this in a database. So let's go ahead and open up SQL Server, the Management Studio, so that we can start creating our tables. And we're going to introduce you, Jonathan, to some new and exciting functionality of SQL Server.
All right.
SQL itself. So let's go ahead and expand databases. And
I think it's under address book.
Is it under address book? I'm thinking we should probably just create a database called Goontacts.
All right.
So it's under databases. Yeah, new database. And let's call it Goontacts DB. And then hang on, let's go over to options. And we want our recovery model to be simple. And again, this is just for development purposes. If it's a production database, we want full recovery, but for development, simple will work perfectly fine. Go ahead and click OK. And let's go ahead and expand it. And we're going to be working with database diagrams today. So let's go ahead and expand the database diagram. And we want to hit yes to support the diagrams. And let's go ahead and right click on the database diagram and create a new database diagram. And we can go ahead and just close this. We don't have any tables right now. So let's add our first table. And I'm going to open up my notes here.
It's going to be people.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's make a people table. So every table needs a unique ID. So as a primary key. And we're going to make it an integer.
Whoops.
So primary key. Oh, yeah. You can't have any nulls. So primary key, we can't allow any nulls. And hang on for a second. Let me catch up to you. I actually got some notes. Let me see here. Okay. We're gonna start off small, Jonathan.
Okay.
We're gonna expand this database as we need it. All right. Can we open up your contacts in Google? What I would say, let's separate the first name and the last name.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason I say that, if you go back to your contacts, I'll show you why. What I would say, let's separate the first name and the last name.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason I say that, if you go back to your contacts, I'll show you why. Go ahead and edit, I don't know, Cameron. And hit edit. You'll notice that there's a first name and last name.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though it shows it to us in one, we'll need to separate it for that. When we edit, we're going to be able to add the separate names.
Okay.
So let's go back to SQL Server, and we're going to do no spaces under first name. And because we want to be able to support multiple languages, we're going to need to make it nvarchar, and varchar 50 works perfectly fine. Everyone has a first name. We're not going to allow nulls.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the last name. Now let's go back to your contacts really quick, and let's go back to the list. You'll notice that on your left-hand side, if you scroll down under labels, scroll down, just keep on going. You'll notice that there's a trash. Now, when you delete something, it doesn't necessarily delete it. So we need to have that same functionality, right? Okay. So let's go back to SQL Server, and we're going to add another field called is deleted. And we're going to take the logic that Mr. what's his name, Bool gave us. Mm-hmm. We're going to use his Boolean logic. So it's going to be a bit. And it's not going to be null. Now we need to put a default value in here though. So if you highlight the whole field, so if you just click on that forward arrow and then go over to properties, over on the right hand side, you see where it says properties spinning sideways. Yeah. And we're going to add a default value. And that value is going to be a 0.
Okay.
And 0 just means false, means it's not deleted. When we do delete it, what we're going to do is we're going to switch this to a 1 and it'll be true. It is deleted. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and save this and give that diagram a name. Call it main or something like that.
Main.
Main. Yeah. Hit OK.
Main. Whoops. Oh, I pushed enter. Well, that's the name.
You should be able to. Yeah. There you go. Okay, cool. Main. Yeah. Just go ahead and save this. Now, we don't need this big table shown. So if you right click on the header of the people table and go to table view, the very first one. Yeah. And just hit column names. So it'll give us just the column names themselves.
Cool.
Now we're going to be displaying phone numbers and emails. So let's go ahead and add a table called phone. You can just right click anywhere on the blank canvas of the diagram and we'll call it phone. Whoa. All right. And again, phone will have, phone is going to have an ID.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that we forgot to do with the ID is remember we have to make them so that they increment automatically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and you have to go into the properties.
So
Identity specification.
there it is.
So you need to expand that.
Oh.
I think you just double click on that. No, it'll switch
cool.
over to yes. And we'll need to do the same thing with the phone.
Cool.
Cool. All right. So with phone, I did some research. Oh, one more field that we're going to need. Okay. We need to be able to tell whose phone number is this. And so we're going to need our second column is going to be the, oh, wait a second. This table people should actually be called person.
Person.
Can you rename it? Oh, hang on, not there, not there. Hang on. Because you have a database diagram that is not saved yet. So hit OK on this. Go ahead and save your database diagram first.
Okay. Save. Wait.
Cancel this. Oh, look at this. What did it say?
These are canceled out of save dialog.
Okay, go ahead and hit OK. And do Control S to save it.
No.
And it says, saving changes is not permitted. The changes you have made require the following tables to be dropped and be recreated. Okay, the reason we're getting that is because of a setting in SQL Server Management Studio. So let's go ahead and cancel this and hit OK. And let's go to Tools. And let's go to Options. Oh man, I always have a hard time finding where this setting needs to be done. So let's go to scroll down a little bit. We need to go to designers.
Designers.
Yeah. And table and database designers. And prevent saving changes that require table recreation. Uncheck that puppy and hit OK. Yeah, now we could do a Control S and hit yes.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. So go ahead and close your diagram
Okay.
and let's go and right click on people and rename it to person. All right. And then let's go ahead and hit enter and go open up your diagram again. You're going to need to refresh that database diagram. So right click and refresh. There you go. Expand it and open up that main diagram. That's fine. It can't find people. So we're going to have to right click on the canvas and add a table, not a new table, but add a table and go ahead and person. Yeah, there you go. All right. So now we can go ahead and work with phone. Phone is a second field. And so a phone will belong to a person. So we need to put in there person ID.
Okay.
And we're not going to allow nulls in there. All right. And then I did some research and phone numbers are interesting, Jonathan.
Why?
Because every country has phone numbers, but they all have different formats for their phone numbers. Do you think, or what would you think would be like, say, a number in Mexico? What would that look like to you?
Probably not the same area code. Hopefully 7 digits or something to that manner.
But do you think they have area codes?
I would say yeah.
And how many numbers do you think that area code would be?
Maybe like 3.
Probably like 3, huh? Yeah. What's interesting is that if you go look, let's do a Google search. Yeah. And let's look for the Wikipedia link. There should be a Wikipedia. There it is.
Right.
Telephone prefix. Yeah, that second one, that one that you clicked on. So this is United States. There should be one. See if we could find the link that goes to, go back to that Wikipedia page. And in here, there should be a link that goes to like worldwide telephone. So if you scroll down a little bit, there was something interesting. International call prefixes. Let's try that. Yeah, let's go ahead and try that.
Oh, there's 4 numbers in this one.
Yeah. When GSM came into the mix, the prefix could change completely. International direct dialing. Okay, you see that link that says telephone numbering plan of a country? Yeah. Go ahead and click on that one. There you go. Let's scroll down a little bit. So what's interesting is that there's a number structure to all phone numbers. And depending on where you're at, there is going to be a country code. There is going to be an area code. There is going to be a subscriber code. And then, and those 3 parts is basically what determines. So for the United States, the country code is 1. The area code is a 3-digit number. And then the subscriber code is a 7-digit number. And so we can also add like an extension, that can also be another thing. But what was interesting is that the area code can be between 2 to 4 numbers, depending on what country you're in. And the subscriber code, which is the actual phone number, the subscriber code can be between 6 to 11 numbers, depending on the country. Mexico has as little as 6. China has as much as 11 numbers, which was interesting find that I did. But yeah, so what we're going to need is we're going to need 4 parts: the country code, the area code, the subscriber code, and an extension in case they're calling an extension to like a company number.
Okay.
So let's go back to the database and let's add those.
So was country?
Country code. And I think we're going to have to make it, we may have to make it a varchar 3 or varchar 4. And since we're only dealing with numbers, we don't need to make it an n varchar. And so we're not going to allow nulls on this one. And then we're going to need an area code. And that'll be varchar 4 as well. And again, no nulls. And then we're going to have the subscriber code, which is basically the phone number itself. So it'll be subscriber code, capital S on that. It'll be a varchar 11. And no nulls on that one either. And then we'll also require an extension, right? So if you call a building and you say, hey, give me extension, 231, they can transfer you there. Or if it's an automated system, it's like, it'll say, please type the extension of the person you're trying to reach. And that one can be, I would say, maybe up to 5. I think 5 would probably be safe. And then finally, a phone label so that we can say this is a home, this is a mobile, this is an office, this is a fax, this is a Google number. We'll just use label as, and we can say varchar, I don't know, and varchar 50. I think that'll probably be good.
Cool.
All right, let's save this. And then again, if you right click on that header and just show the columns of the phone on the phone table itself.
Oh,
yeah. We'll do the table view and just columns only. Yeah. And let's save your diagram. Cool. And then let's add an email table. All right. So email, obviously we need our PK ID, right? A primary key.
okay. All right.
And then remember, we want it to be automatically incremented.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
All right. And then what we're going to need is emails will belong to a person, right? So we're going to put person ID. And this will be an integer as well. And no nulls allowed.
Oh, yep.
And then we're going to need the address, right? The email address itself. So we just say address. And I don't know, maybe like a varchar 50 probably.
No nulls.
No nulls. And then finally, an email label, right? So that we know if this is their personal, this is their work, this is, you know, whatever label we need to put on there. Yeah, and let's save this puppy.
It's gonna be a varchar 50.
Yep.
There it is.
All right. So let's arrange these tables. Oh, go ahead and right click on email header. And let's do the display so that we're just showing the field. All right, so let's arrange these tables so that person can be at top and then phone can be like on the either side of the right below person itself.
Got it.
And so let's go ahead and save this for now. And Control S will save it. What you're going to do is you're going to grab the key from person and you're going to drag it over to person ID, down to person ID.
Not able to drag it.
Well,
Oh, here we go.
there you go. And so, okay, so let's look at this for a second. What we're saying is that the parent table happens to be the person table, and we're taking the ID and we're saying this ID from the person table is considered a foreign key in the phone table. So in other words, we cannot enter any records that don't already exist in the person table.
Okay.
All right, so let's hit OK. And we're going to do the same thing. Go ahead and hit OK there. And we're going to do the same thing with person and email. And we're going to drag it into person ID. Yeah, that's it right there. Same thing, right? We're not going to be able to enter any emails that don't already exist in a person table.
Whoops.
So
I did it in the wrong one.
no. That's it. Just does it that way.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't need to worry about where it's at. As long as when we saw it, that it was pointing to the right columns. That's all we really care about. So let's go ahead and do Control S and save this.
Yep.
All right. I say we go enter some people. So you can go ahead and close this diagram.
All right.
And let's go add some people. You can right click on person and you can edit.
There we go.
200. Yeah. So you don't have to give it an ID. It'll automatically fill it in. You just got to give it a first and last name. So this would be Mickey Mouse. And you don't even have to specify whether it's deleted or not. It's just going to automatically say, no, this is not deleted. So you could just tab on through and then enter Minnie Mouse. And tab on through and put in Donald Duck.
Oops. Don.
Donado. Is that the Mexican name? And then you should be able to just close this. I think this should work. Go ahead and just close this, see what it says. And then let's go open up a new query and let's just do select star from person.
Okay. Select. Let's see.
Yeah, execute this puppy.
Hey, there it is.
Nice, very cool. All right, so let's go add some numbers. Let's go and you can refresh your tables. So under tables, just refresh.
Oh,
right click and refresh, and that should give you your other tables.
All right.
Let's go edit emails or phone, whichever you prefer. So we know Mickey's 1, Minnie's 2, Donald is 3. So you don't have to worry about the ID, but you do have to worry about the person ID.
1.
Okay. And then the email address would be like mickey@disney.com or something. And then the email would be, I don't know, you could just say like work email or something.
Okay.
No, just work.
Oh, work.
Yeah.
Oops. There we go. We have 2. Mini. Whoops. Cancel. Okay. Disney. Okay, we got our.
All right. Let's go ahead and close this and let's go do a select star from, you can just add it as a second line.
Okay.
Select star from email. And execute this puppy. All right. Now, this is interesting. You'll notice that IDs are not sequential, especially when you're assigning IDs automatically. If you're allowing SQL Server to assign those IDs, it doesn't do it sequentially. What happened was that when you entered Mini, there was a couple mistakes that you made, right? And it said, hey, we can't commit this. This isn't complete. We can't do anything with it. But what happens is that as you enter it, as you create that record, it prefetches that next primary key number. And when it fails to insert it, guess what it does with that primary key number? It just throws it away. It says, oh, we didn't use this one. Oh, you're starting again. Let's prefetch the next one. So now you're on number 3. You made another mistake. And it's like, hey, we can't commit this one. Let's throw this primary key. We're going to attempt number 4. So let's prefetch that primary key 4. And that one was successful. And that's where it was able to put in that key. Not that big of a deal. You know, primary keys go pretty high. And so if you were to enter a record every second of every day for the next 12 years, that's how long it would take to reach the maximum integer of 64 bits or 32 bits, 32-bit integer.
All right, I'll try not to do that.
No, that's perfectly fine. You're going to be doing that all the time. I mean, I just wanted to explain that to you. And so let's go add the phones for these people.
All right. So we don't need the ID. Person ID 1. Country code 1.
Well, the country code, yeah, that would be 1. Yeah.
I'll just do
555-1212.
I put dashes in there?
No dashes, just the number.
Extension.
No extension. Oh, can we do nulls on extension?
We didn't put nulls on the extension.
Oh.
We might need a null.
We should allow nulls for extensions. Let's go ahead and hit escape on this.
Okay.
And then close it. And then go back to the designer on the phone. And allow nulls for the extension. This is the only one field that we're allowing. So Control S. And then you can close this. Yep. And close this tab. And then let's go back and add those phones.
No extension, phone label, work.
Work.
And this is mini. All right.
All right. Let's go ahead and close this window. And let's do a select star from phone.
Oops.
All right. Looks like we got some data in there.
Mhm.
So having the data across three tables, it does a couple things, right? It allows us to enter more than one email per person, right? So we
Okay.
can have multiple emails for Mickey, multiple emails for Minnie, same thing for Donald, right? And the
Mhm.
same thing with the phone. We can have multiple phone numbers for them. We can have their mobile, we can have their work, we can have their home phone number, we can have a fax, we can enter multiple numbers for them. But it does us no good because we need it in one record, right? In order to display that, because we're displaying the name, we're displaying the email, and we're displaying the phone number on the list. So what we need to do is we need to be able to join all this information so that the results look like it came from one table.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and on line number one, let's give a couple of blank lines. Actually, you want to move all three of those down a couple of blank lines. All right, so let's start with select star. And then go ahead and enter. Let's start a second line. And we're going to say from person. But we're going to be using person quite a bit later on. So we want to give it an alias. We're just going to say P. And then we're going to say join email. And we're going to give email an alias of E. And then it's going to be joined on. So that we're going to use a keyword on. We're going to say p.id equals e.person ID. So basically, this is going to join these two tables and say, hey, just go give me everything from both. And we're going to join the records. We're going to join them based on this criteria. The ID of the people, of the person, and the person ID of the email. So let's go ahead and execute this and let's see what we get.
Just this line, right?
Now you can execute everything.
All right.
That's fine. So what you could do is you could actually drag that, give us a little bit more real estate. Am I dragging that up a little bit? Yeah. So you could see where that first result is the ID of the table P person, the first name of person, the last name of person is deleted. And then we go into the ID of the email, the person ID, which matches the ID,
Mhm.
and then the address and the label. So let's go ahead and start up a new line and indent. You just hit tab and then join. What is it? Phone.ph or phone. Yeah. And then we'll give phone an alias of ph since we already have a P in there.
Mhm.
And then we're going to join on p.id equals ph.person ID. So this joins it. Now, you see how we indented join on
Mhm.
line 3? let's go ahead and put join from line 2 on the next line as well.
Oh, okay.
And you can indent it.
There we go.
Yeah. So you see how that's working, that visual that you're getting? You're taking P and then you're joining all everything. So let's go ahead and execute this. So we got all that, right? It gives us in one single record. But at the same time, we're also getting a whole lot of other information that we don't need, right? So let's go and tell it specifically what it is that we need. We know that we need the ID from the person, the first name, the last name, and is deleted. So instead of putting the star, let's do p.id, comma, p.first name, or replace the star. You're going to be replacing the star. So it'll be p.id, comma, p.first name, comma, p.last name. And then p dot, comma, p dot is deleted.
That's it. ID, first name, last name is deleted.
So now let's go ahead and start a new line after line 1. And we want to include, go ahead and tab in, give it an indent. We want to include fields from email, but we only want the ID from email, the address from email, and the email label.
Okay.
We don't want to include the person ID because we already have it as PID. So it'll be E dot.
Got per ID.
E dot ID, yeah, comma.
Dot, whoops. E dot address. E dot email label. Oh, whoa. Email able is how I spelt it.
All right. You're missing a comma at the end of line 1.
Oh.
All right. And let's add a comma to the end of line 2, and let's do the same thing for phone.
Dot. We need the ID. Country code. Area. Whoops. Area code. Subscriber code. And phone label. There it is.
You could get rid of the last comma. You don't need that one. All right, let's run it, see what we get.
That's clean.
We can make this cleaner.
Okay.
So what we need, we don't need first and last name to display on the list, right? We just need a name.
Okay.
So we need to add first name space last name. So let's remove the comma in between the first name and the last name. And let's put plus. Oh, you hit the insert key. So click on the insert key again and put that P back in there. P dot last name. All right. Now we're going to do plus and then single quotes with an empty space in it. And then plus again. Let's execute that, see what we get. Let's see what that looks like.
Ooh.
You see the problem? It says no column name. That's a problem. So even though we get the names, we need to have a column name. Just like we gave the tables an alias, we can give that concatenation of first name, last name also an alias. So after last name, we can just say space as name.
Cool.
Maybe make it a capital N. Or you know what? Let's be even better. Let's say full name. Let's be more specific.
All together.
All together. And let's execute that, see what we get.
Hey.
That's kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, we're transforming this data into exactly what we need. And we're letting the server, the database server, go and do all that work for us. We don't need to go do any more work than what this is giving us. So we're also going to need, for the phone number, we're going to need it to format this so that it would be, in fact, why don't we get rid of the country code and just concatenate area code and subscriber code?
Okay.
So let's get rid of country code, since we're just, you and I are dealing with just US address. I don't think we know anyone in China. And Mexico has numbers similar to the US. So I think we can get away with these numbers. We'll worry about the country code later.
All right.
And so we're going to want to join area code and subscriber code.
Okay. Whoops. What did I do? Plus.
Phone number. Yeah. Let's see what that looks like.
Okay. All right. All right.
What about if we were to put the parentheses around the phone, the area code?
Just throw them in there.
Well, you have to do it the same way you did the space, right? So you have to do plus space or plus. Well, you don't need a plus ahead of it. Before, you don't need the plus, but you do need it after. After the close quote.
Oh,
yeah, because you're concatenating the phone number with the
got it.
with the parenthesis. Yeah,
And
and then the same thing on the other side. Let's see what that looks like. That's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Now we just need that dash in the middle. Yeah, that's a tough one, huh?
Yeah.
There's no plus side there.
Yeah, but a plus sign in the middle.
All right. So what we're going to need to do is we need to grab the first three numbers, okay, and then grab the last four numbers of the phone number, of the subscriber code. All right. So let's go look at Google for a keyword. Go ahead and do search for SQL Server. And then let's look for substring. Yeah, substring. There you go. Yeah, let's go see how you use that. All right, so substring, the name of the field, where you want to start, and how many characters you want to go.
Okay.
So let's go and just remember substring. Okay. Substring. So let's go back to SQL. And we're gonna surround PH subscriber code with substring.
Okay. It's all caps.
Yeah. So you're going to open parenthesis. Parenthesis.
Oh,
And then at the end of PH subscriber code, you're going to do a comma. And you're going to say 1, 3. And then close parenthesis. Let's see what that gives us.
oh.
Right. So that gives us 555, right? Which means that now we need to do plus dash plus. So we got to put the dash inside the single quote. And we got to do the substring, but this time we get the last 4.
Another substring.
Another substring. Yep.
Oh, whoops. It's the subscriber code. Yeah.
Yep. And this time, instead of starting at position 1, we want to start at position 4. And we want to grab 4.
4.
Let's run it, see what we get.
Cool. Yeah.
So let's clean up our code a little bit. Let's go ahead and let's comment out lines 10, 11, and 12. So you can just go ahead and highlight those 3 and do Control KC. And then let's go ahead and fix our code. Let's go on line 1, P dot first name. Let's put that on a new line. And then indent it. And then P dot is deleted. Let's go ahead and put that in a new line. And let's go ahead and indent E dot ID. And then put E dot address on a new line, E dot email, indent the ID. And then go ahead and after, yeah, that one right there, put it in a new line. And let's go and scoot over and put the next line or the next field into the next line. Yep. Cool. It's a little bit easier to read.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it just goes off the screen. And even though we are going off the screen here, I think it's still legible. In fact, you can give yourself a little bit more real estate. If you move your Object Explorer, close it up a little bit.
There we go.
There we go. Let's execute this, see what we got.
Cool.
This is pretty much what we need to display on the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to need is this result that you're showing here. It doesn't exist. Okay. This is just a view of your data. So what we want to do is we want to put this into a stored procedure. So go ahead and you can go ahead and copy this and copy it. Yeah. And let's start a new query window. And we need to create a stored procedure. So we need to say create or alter. Proc, P-R-O-C. And oh man, what would we call this? I guess contact list. As. Yeah, as will go in a new line. And then go ahead and begin and end. So we're going to set up the body of our stored procedure. And then in between the begin and end, you're going to paste that query that you got. And then Perfect. Yeah. Now, what we're going to want to do is the contact list, because it's a stored procedure, we want to call it SP underscore contact list. So just append or prefix it with SP underscore. Some people will want to prefer that you call it USP, which means user stored procedure. In other words, you as a user are creating a stored procedure. But I think the SP is probably sufficient enough in this case.
Okay.
Yeah. All we need to do is just make everything capital that needs to be capital. And you do Control-Shift-U.
Oh,
Highlight and Control-Shift-U. Uh-huh. What about the or? The or also.
or.
So we're going to need to capitalize select. Yeah. Join.
Joins.
So I'll show you a trick so you can highlight both of them. Hang on.
Okay.
If you hold down your shift, your shift and your alt, you'll be able to do a column.
Oh. There we go.
Cool, huh? And then you got as phone number. So as would be capitalized.
Oh.
Yeah, I think this looks pretty proper now. Maybe give me a blank line between line 3 and 4. Nice. Let's go ahead and execute this so that we can create the stored procedure. And you may want to save this for future reference.
Yeah, why not? Whoops, I just named it whatever.
Actually, what you're going to want to do is do save as. So go back to file, save as.
Oh.
And then call this
Tax.
Goontacts table join. Because you're going to have to refer to this in the future.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some valuable code for you to like, how did I concatenate? How did I separate? How did I join these 3 tables? And so this is going to be a good reference for you.
Cool.
All right. All right. So let's go and execute that stored procedure. And let's open up your other tab.
This one.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and just highlight and get rid of this. Control A and delete. And let's exec SP underscore contact list. And execute it.
Cool.
Nice. It's kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I think this is a good stopping point. This would probably be a good point to stop. I mean, we covered the tables, right? We created a bunch of tables. We joined a bunch of tables to concatenate all the information that we need. And then we also formatted the full name. We took 2 fields, converted into 1, and we took the phone number. We took another 2 fields and we concatenate them. And then we separated that 1 subscriber number and put a dash in between it. So now what we could do is we could store information in just a flat format. And depending on what country you're going to go pull the number, we can add logic to the stored procedure to go and format it correctly. depending on the country code. If we have country code for Mexico, it'll be 3,3-3 because it's 6 numbers in Mexico. If it happens to be in China, and if it's a 6 digit, we can separate 3 and 3. If it's 7, we separate 3 and 4. If it happens to be 10, we know that it's 3 and 7, as far as the numbers are concerned.
Mhm.
And so, so we were able to separate all that stuff that way. But for US, this would work perfectly fine. And so we got our cert procedure. We got our data formatted the way we want it. In our next episode, Jonathan, what we're going to do is we're going to go and create the model. We'll go and do the data access, where we go and use all the SQL, ADO.NET for SQL, and call the store procedure and create our model, and then save it up, send it up the pipeline to display on here. All right.
Yeah.
I think this one was a big step in the right direction, I want to say.
Yeah.
Cool. Any thoughts?
Let's get this designed and done.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
On the road to code.
Peace out.